Let's talk about Oprah. Oprah Winfrey. Let's see if I can get this media to come up. I think it's G. I think it's one. Here's a headline from The Guardian from 2015. Oprah Winfrey, one of the world's best neoliberal capitalist thinkers. And the subtitle was, subtext was, Oprah is appealing because her stories hide the role of political, economic, and social structures in our own lives. They make the American dream seem attainable. I want to start with that article because I think it's a decent place to start. This article that was in The Guardian gave a pretty fair look at Oprah Winfrey. And I'm going to come from a lot of different angles on this. So just walk with me and don't assume that I'm going one way or the other. I will say at the beginning that my gut reaction is a visceral one. Visceral probably is not the right word. But my gut reaction takes me in two distinctly different directions. My initial reaction is no. One, because she's a billionaire. Two, because she's a celebrity. Three, because we don't need a billionaire or a celebrity. And I'm inclined to believe that a billionaire, that neither a billionaire nor a celebrity has any idea what it's like to be a working class stiff these days. Oprah Winfrey does come from very meager beginnings, and she did come from poverty. So she has an experience with poverty that most billionaires today don't have. Most billionaires today they got there from inheritances, and they got there from being in a privileged position that they could build up from. Oprah Winfrey got up there by sheer timing, talent, hard work, and luck. Let's just be real. All those things, nothing, no matter how hard you work, just working hard will never get you to where Oprah Winfrey is, period. And this is what I think this article highlights. So much so that, Oprah Winfrey, in her role as spiritual guru of sorts, has disguised twofold. She's tried to encourage the world, but in encouraging the world, she disguises the reality of the economic system that is constantly draining each and every one of us. Here's where I want to go with the conversation. The article is interesting because they refer to her as like a religious guru, a spiritual guru. I have to agree. And then I think about the saying that, and we've had this discussion somewhat, the discussion about religion being the opiate for the masses, and the need in this system to have that opiate. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, like dealing with the workload that we have to deal with, dealing with the stresses that we have to deal with, dealing with all of the realities of our lives. I mean, damn. I mean, that's why we drink. That's why we, trying to make marijuana legal. We're doing everything so we can numb ourselves to the reality and of our existence. And Oprah Winfrey's spiritual guidance, so to speak, has played a significant role in many, many Americans in serving as that spiritual gap between Sunday to Sunday. It's like a religion. And for a lot of people, their first instinct is, well, that's absolutely why she shouldn't be the president. I don't think that has any bearings on what type of president she would be. And I think that's the first thing that we should parse. The first thing that we should say is this. Let's all just admit, if Oprah Winfrey decided to run, she would win. All right. Donald Trump, I think she could appropriately handle Donald Trump in a debate. Donald Trump could not attack her the way that he attacked Hillary Clinton without Oprah Winfrey setting him straight, getting some get right. Till you do right by me. That kind of she would handle him. I think it's important to calculate that into our conversations, because vehement opposition to her for the sake of what we don't know right now is not a sound strategy, in my opinion. We don't know anything about who she's going to surround herself with. We only have assumptions. Now, my initial assumption is that she's going to surround herself with people who are going to protect billionaires. But my initial assumption has been wrong. My initial assumption about Trump was that he was not going to go anywhere. I was wrong. So I don't want to make draw conclusions based on the type of quote unquote president that Oprah would be, based on her talk show, based on her spiritual guruism and all that. Because honestly, I think to a certain extent, we're dealing with a political blank slate. An economic blank slate. Because here's why I say this. It's because the assumptions that we make about her, the assumptions that we all make about billionaires, probably are right 9 times out of 10. I'm not doubting that, but I am saying that we need to think about the reality that if she decided to run, she's going to win. I mean, that's the world that we live in. I would take her over Mark Zuckerberg. Hell, I'm honestly in a position where I might take Donald Trump over Mark Zuckerberg, because I'm a firm believer that the most powerful man in the world, powerful position in the world, should absolutely not have the most data on Americans, on everybody across the world. Mark Zuckerberg has a fetish for data. And so to me, in The Rock, I don't even know why he's in the conversation. And of course, everybody's going to say this, but Ben, we need to get away from celebrities as presidents. That's the thing. That's the problem with democracy, right? The problem with democracy is that this is almost a natural outgrowth of our entertainment industry that drives our capitalistic system that's attached to this democracy. You know, if you think about it, I don't know if many scholars actually posited this, not scholars, but philosophers. I don't know if anyone drew the natural conclusion that when you have, who was it, Marcuse, that was talking about the entertainment industry that is a intricate part of this monopolistic capitalistic system. And the entertainment industry serves that spiritual guru kind of role, that pacifying of the masses to keep us from losing our shit from day to day. And it's interesting, all right, so we're going down this road, right? So Marcuse was talking about the role of the entertainment industry in terms of coddling or satiating the rage of people. Right. But I'm not sure if and I didn't read all of his works, but I'm not sure if he drew the natural conclusion that in a democracy, we were always headed in this direction. I mean, think about it. If in our democracy, anybody could run for president, no restrictions, anybody could become the president of the United States. Donald Trump has proven that anybody with enough money and enough notoriety can become the president of the United States. That's merely because he's a celebrity, and that's because our entire economic system is sustained by the amount of entertainment that is used to keep us satiated from day to day to day to day. So it's a natural outgrowth of our system that we're lamenting, and everybody's like, oh, we don't need celebrities. We don't want celebrities. But at what point were we going to ever be able to stop that natural progress, that procession from political leaders, from philosopher kings, if you want to consider philosopher kings who were genocidal would be more accurate if you want to, describe our founding fathers. But the natural growth from philosopher, genocidal kings in our founding fathers to entertainers. Somebody in the chat room, Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor. Explain that one. That's the same exact phenomenon, the natural procession. I think this is a natural outgrowth. I think it's an unfortunate natural outgrowth, but how do you stop it? How do you stop it short of destroying the ability for anybody to run for president? Number one. Or two, the even more difficult challenge, which would be to destroy the role of the entertainment industry in doping up the masses. I mean, I go to church for my opiate, and most people, they either turn on a video game, or they go to a movie, or they watch the Real Housewives of this, or they watch a football game, or whatever your vice is. Everybody has something in their life that serves that role. And I think that role is far more difficult to undo than changing the qualifications of who could be president. Now, that's the backdrop of the conversation. Everyone who's lamenting and regretting that we're here, I don't know that there was any other way for us to go when you consider the underlying forces that control our system. All right. So if you're with me there, the next step is Donald Trump kind of took us past the Rubicon, right? We crossed the Rubicon, and now it's open season for entertainers to become president of the United States. Unqualified, no experience, and I would argue that there is no qualifications, or rather, there's no experience that could prepare you to be the president of the United States, short of character. Right. And I hate to sound cliche, but really, I think every president who has ever taken that role said that nothing that they did before that prepared them for the role. Donald Trump has proven that our system can survive having the most ridiculous, man-child, incompetent, feckless, meandering oath. Right. So our system, it has not imploded on itself yet. And so here we are with a serious conversation about Oprah Winfrey having the next go at the presidency. I was talking about it on Facebook, and one of the friends of the show, he's a podcaster and a commentator, Michael Solomon, said that one of the things that bothers him the most is the fact that people are making this a coronation again, very similar to what happened with Hillary Clinton. A mega donor to the Democratic Party said if Oprah Winfrey wants it, it's hers. That's problematic, but I don't think it's problematic for the same reasons. Here's the reason I think it's problematic is because, well, you know, she's so popular, I don't really see anybody being able to beat her. And that's the problem of our entertainment industry. And when I say entertainment industry, I'm referring to Marcuse's usage of the word, not just our entertainment industry, right? I'm speaking of the entertainment industry and the role that it plays in sustaining our system. That's a problem of our system. But what it's not like the Democratic Party, the DNC, establishment, workers, apparatchiks who are in the system trying to influence the system to make sure that nobody else has an opportunity, because Oprah has no more allegiance from the DNC staffers than anyone else, like Hillary Clinton did. So it's not a coronation in the sense that they're going to get in the system and work the system and call Oprah's going to call in all of her favors that every DNC person ever owed her, and they're going to put the pressure on and squeeze out the competition. I think it's a coronation simply because she's so damn popular. Who's going to stop her? That's really what I think it is. So it is problematic, but I still think that it is an inevitable outcome of our political system. It's an inevitable outcome of the role of the entertainment industry in sustaining our society. Now, I did a whole long preface to get to Oprah as a person, Oprah as a business person, Oprah as and here's one last thing. Why should we talk about it? Well, not just because it's headlines, but because if she wants to run, she's going to win. And a lot of people are like, she wasn't serious. I don't know if she's serious. Hell, all I know is that if something clicks in her head today and she says, I'm going to be the first woman president of the United States. I'm going to be the first woman of color president of the United States. I'm going to make history. And something clicks in her head and she says, really, nobody can beat me. Then we're dealing with an entirely new landscape where we are going to have to adjust. And we are going to have to, you can do your best to try to stop her, but I don't know that she can be stopped. I don't know that she can be stopped. I think I'm going to shift gears in the conversation because The question is, where do we go from here, though? Let's take Oprah. I'm going to take a hard shift and go in a different direction than I was originally going to go. Let's say Oprah does run and Oprah does win. Are we going to be forever stuck with celebrities? Is this natural outgrowth of the role of entertainment in our in sustaining this monopolistic capitalistic system? And the monopoly capitalism, is the role so powerful that we're stuck with entertainers from here on out? And are we, here's the other question, are entertainers more or less qualified, any less qualified than George W. Bush, who was a governor for 8 years and who destabilized the entire freaking world for a generation or two? There are no qualifications. It really, what matters, and this is what I said on Twitter, this is what I said on Facebook, and I'm going to say it again here. What 100% matters is who is she or he, or who's the next president going to surround themselves with. This is how we knew, this was my warning signal for Obama. Once President Obama surrounded himself, I think his first Secretary of the Treasury was Timothy Geithner, right? Wall Street. Once he surrounded himself with those people, I already knew where we were going. I knew we weren't going anywhere different, right? And so it doesn't really matter so much how qualified a person is, because you can't have enough experience to be the president. What matters is who you surround yourself with. And I'm inclined to believe that, you know, we could be surprised. Here's a video. I want to play this video. And this is one of the reasons that I think we could be surprised with who DDR1, with who you Oprah Winfrey would surround herself with.
I was making a lot of money, and my producers were still getting the same salary. I went to my boss at the time, and I said, everybody needs a raise. And he said, why? He actually said to me, they're only girls. They're a bunch of girls. What do they need more money for? I go, well, either they're going to get raises or I'm going to sit down. I will not work unless they get paid. And so they did.
I mean, she threatened to strike on behalf of the wages of her employees, people who were working with her. Doesn't tell me a lot. It doesn't tell me everything, but it tells me that. Here's the other thing. I'm going to add a fine layer with this. FDR, who did more for the working class and the middle class than probably any other president, was one of the richest people in the country, had enormous wealth, but he had the vision, and the people he surrounded himself with came in with the plan to help the average American. So I will reserve the right to make a call or make a decision on Oprah Winfrey until I see who she surrounds herself with. At that point, and I think that's what everyone should do, at that point, I would say whether she's a friend or whether she's a foe. But I can't make the blanket statement that simply because she's a billionaire, she's a billionaire with different experiences that actually came from extreme poverty, right? So there is, I'm sorry, once you have a taste. Let me tell you something. Once you actually have a taste of extreme poverty, you know, wealth doesn't take that away. It doesn't mean you're going to be some kind of, you know, Robin Hood and you're going to do some great things. You could just forget about everyone else, but at least it's there. But still, besides all that, the thing that I have to see is, who is she going to surround herself with? And I think that's where all of us should be. Who is she going to surround herself with? If we're crazy about the idea that we're in the age of entertainers being president, I would argue that, like I did at the beginning of this, that I'm not sure that we were going anywhere else but where we are right now. It's not just the anger that Donald Trump tapped into. It is the notoriety that got him there. I mean, do you think a populist, a no-name populist, a no-name fascist who was just working up the ranks of the Republican Party, tapping into the anger of all of the white racists across the country, do you think he would have been big enough or strong enough to take out the popularity of Donald Trump? The popularity of Donald Trump is what got him all the additional free media. The popularity of Donald Trump is what made people say, oh, give him the benefit of the doubt. So, a lot of people try to say that Donald Trump got there simply because of his appeal, his populist appeal, which I would say was a fascist appeal. I disagree. It was that on top of the fact that the number one reason was the fact that he was this tremendously popular man with his name on buildings all across the country, with television shows all across the country. People were comfortable with his oafishness because he had been on television with that oafishness for seasons. So again, I'm not sure that we're in a place where we can actually stop this momentum. It's going to take, here's what it would take. And this is the problem. It would take, we would have to scour the entire nation and find one of or two of the most dynamic, magnanimous individuals that history has ever known. And we would have to put millions of dollars, into probably $500 million to if not $1 billion, into marketing and promoting these individuals through one of the major parties. And not only would they have to be magnanimous, they'd have to be one of the most brilliant people, whether or not they have a pedigree from Harvard or not. I think that's irrelevant. I think they would have to have some grit. We're talking about a once in a generation styled individual that we would have to find that would come up through the ranks to challenge and beat Donald Trump or to challenge and beat Hillary Clinton, because we're going against the celebrity factor. I firmly believe that those individuals are out there. Whether or not our system is, I know that our system is not designed to find them. I know that those individuals are probably working in some piecemeal job that has them going check to check, and they probably would stay there. The greatest, what was the saying? Well, anyway, you know the saying about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the best player in the world wasn't Michael Jordan. The best player in the world is probably on somebody's street, court. All right, 857-600-0518 if you want to weigh in on the conversation. I want to read some more comments. People don't base votes. This is from Ryan in the chat room. He said, people don't base votes off of policy. In the end, looking at a candidate, people vote for who makes them feel better. That's it. That's it. We are not a society, as much as we want to be, as much as I would love an intellectual society that decides based on policy. I don't think that we probably have not had a policy-driven campaign in my lifetime. It's all been popularity. It's all been about who makes you feel good. It's all been about who you want to have a drink with. It's been about who connects with their spouse better. Or are you awkward when you kiss your wife like Al Gore was at the 2000 convention? Or are you easily swift-boated like John Kerry in 2004? Are you, it's about everything else except for policy. This is how we had an entire series of presidential debates, and I don't think we covered climate change but once, right? Economic issues, I don't think we covered them with any significance. Our news cycle, everything is affected by the role of the entertainment industry. Our news cycles are the questions coming from commentators, from people who are ostensibly the people responsible for getting the news out, is the best way to describe it right now. They would ask questions about, Donald Trump, did you grab her by the pussy? Those became the issues. And this is a result of the role of entertainment in sustaining this system. We're not locked into the television just because we're all mindless drones. We're locked into the television because that's the only thing that actually keeps us from probably dying sooner, right? Or killing somebody. The role of entertainment is like the role of religion. It's just like, where do you get your fix from? And because of that, We neither have conversations that are substantive and about policy on our news. We barely have it in print. You know, the most successful industries on the internet are clickbait industries. And we don't have politicians we don't have decisions that are being made about politicians. People don't make their decisions based on policy. They make it based on everything else except that.